Good day. This is the third of the series of participant-oriented evaluation approaches. So we are now in participatory evaluation. I got this still from Better Evaluation and in this link, and participatory approaches also from this link. So you can visit those sites and I'll be discussing few of them here. So what is participatory evaluation? Participatory evaluation is an approach that involves the stakeholders of a program or policy in the evaluation process. This involvement can occur at any stage of the evaluation process, from the evaluation design to the data collection and analysis and the reporting of the study. Still, what is participatory evaluation? So, a participatory approach can be taken with any impact evaluation design and with quantitative and qualitative data. So, when you are planning to use participatory evaluation, it can go along with impact evaluation design, and you can use either quantitative or qualitative data as a data collection or as the source of data during the evaluation process. According to Gujit 2014, so she's a worker from UNICEF and she authored participatory approaches. So she said that however, the type and level of stakeholder involvement will necessarily vary between different types. For example, between a local level impact evaluation or and an evaluation of policy changes. So it is important to consider the purpose of involving stakeholders and which stakeholders should be involved, how, in order to maximize the effectiveness of the approach. So what is the purpose of involving stakeholders? Which stakeholders should be involved? And how to maximize stakeholders' participation? So to maximize effectiveness, you should ask these questions and you should consider this very importantly. So, how participatory approach vary from conventional approach to evaluation? So, there are 5 key ways, and it is pertaining to why the evaluation is being done, how evaluation is done, who is doing the evaluating, and what is being evaluated, and for whom evaluation is being done. The next slide will show us a more detailed differences between the two in the next slide. So further, how participatory approach vary from conventional approach. So here's I got this from Google. Narayan and Parker 1993 explicitly um, produced this variation from conventional to participatory evaluation. So according to them, so for conventional, we have external experts. However, for participatory, community people, project staff, and facilitator. So what are being evaluated for conventional evaluation? Indicators of success, principal cost, and production outputs. However, in participatory evaluation, we are not setting which one really is to be evaluated, but the people the participants identify their own indicators of success, which may include production outputs. So how will participatory evaluation be done? So for conventional, we have focus on scientific objectivity, distancing of evaluators from other participants, uniform complex procedures, delayed limited access to results. However, in participatory evaluation, we have self-evaluation, simple methods adapted to local culture, open immediate sharing of results through local involvement in evaluation processes. And when to do conventional, usually upon completion of the project or the program, sometimes also midterm. However, for participatory evaluation, we merge monitoring and evaluation. Hence, it's frequent small-scale evaluation. So why are we doing this evaluation? Conventional evaluation are done for accountability, usually summative in nature, or to determine if funding continues. However, for participatory, we do this to empower local people to initiate, control, and take corrective action. So these are the variation between conventional and participatory approach. So how did we do participatory evaluation? Primarily, this is for self-assessment, stakeholder evaluation, internal evaluation, and joint evaluation. However, it can also include individual storytelling, participatory social mapping, causal linkage and trend and change diagramming, scoring, and brainstorming on program strengths and weaknesses. So what are the advantages of participatory evaluation? First, it identifies locally relevant evaluation questions. Second, improve accuracy and relevance of reports. Establish and explain causality. Improve program performance. Empower participants. Build capacity. Develop leaders and build teams. Sustain organizational learning and growth. However, there are challenges when it comes to participatory evaluation, like time and commitment of the participants, which are the main source um, of your data, resources, conflicts between approaches, unclear purpose of participation or a purpose that is not aligned with evaluation design. Lack of facilitation skills. So maybe you cannot hold or motivate your participants well, and next, only focusing on participation in one aspect of the evaluation process, like in data collection. And lastly, lack of cultural and contextual understanding and the implications of these for the evaluation design. So these are the possible challenges that you will meet when you are using participatory evaluation. According to Goodgit 2014, the benefits of participation in impact evaluation are neither automatic nor guaranteed. Commissioning such approaches means committing to the implications for timing, resources, and focus. Facilitation skills are essential to ensuring a good quality process, which in turn may require additional resources for building capacity. So I got this slide from the YouTube video I watched. Key steps of participatory evaluation: engage stakeholders, theory of change, questions and data collection methods, data collection analysis, conclusions, recommendations, and action plans. So how are these participatory approaches or this participatory evaluation approach used in research? So example here is supporting indigenous governance in Colombia, and this is a project of UNICEF, and the author is Irene Goodgit. Here's an advice for choosing this approach. So why would you use participatory approach? First, involving stakeholders in the process of an evaluation can lead to better data, better understanding of the data, more appropriate recommendations, and better uptake of findings. Second is, it is ethical to include the people to be affected by a program or policy in the process to inform relevant decisions. Okay, for number 3, advice for choosing this approach according to Goodgit 2014. The first step in a participatory approach is to clarify what value this approach will add, both to the evaluation and to the stakeholders who would be involved. Irene Goodgit suggests 3 questions to ask when using this approach. Number 1, what purpose will stakeholder participation serve in this impact evaluation? Number 2, whose participation matters when and why? When is participation feasible? In the previous 3 slides, it was about advice for choosing this approach in relation to the study they conducted to support indigenous governance in Colombia. Here, we will start with the advice for using this approach. So when you use this approach, there are advice that are given to you. Number one, it is important to pilot any method of participatory evaluation to ensure safe and open engagement with participants and that relevant indicators are included. Number two, presented a number of ways to use participatory methods. Number one, to collect qualitative and quantitative impact data. Two, to investigate causality, for example, through focus group discussions or interviews. Three, to negotiate differences and to validate key findings. Four, to score people's appreciation of an intervention's impact, such as matrix ranking or spider diagram. And fifth, to assess impacts in relation to wider developments in the intervention area. So again, this is in the context of supporting indigenous governance in Colombia. The UNICEF's methodological brief on participatory approaches uses the Better Evaluation Rainbow Framework to cluster a number of questions for someone seeking to use a participatory approach. However, there are still other framework or other model that you can use still under participatory evaluation. So you will see that in other examples still in this presentation. So on that problem or study on the indigenous people of Colombia, they use the better evaluation framework to answer whose participation matters, when, and why. So first here is manage. The first part of the model is manage. Manage an evaluation or a series of evaluation, including deciding who will conduct the evaluation and who will make decisions about it. So what are the questions under manage? Number one, who should be invited to participate in managing the impact evaluation? Who will be involved in deciding what is to be evaluated? Number two, who will have the authority to make what kind of decisions? Who will decide about the evaluators? Who will be involved in developing or approving the evaluation design in evaluation plan? Who will undertake the impact evaluation? Whose values will determine what a good quality impact evaluation looks like? What capacities may need to be strengthened to undertake or make the best use of an impact evaluation? So this is the first step of this framework. You should manage. Number two, define. In this step, develop a description or access an existing version of what is to be evaluated and how it is understood to work. So the questions here, who will be involved in revising or creating a theory of change on which the impact evaluation will reflect. Number two, who will be involved in identifying possible unintended results, both positive and negative, that will be important. So in this framework, you will be guided in each step of the framework, in each part of the framework. You will be guided what are the things that you need to do by answering the questions that are provided. Then you need to frame, set the parameters of the evaluation, its purposes, key evaluation questions, and the criteria and standards to be used. The questions in this section is who will decide the purpose of the impact evaluation, who will set the evaluation questions, and number three, whose criteria and standards matter in judging performance. Again, this is to identify whose participation matters, when, and why. The next step or part or section of the framework is to describe. In this section, you should collect and retrieve data to answer descriptive question about the activities of the project or program or policy, the various results it has had, and the context in which it has been implemented. So the questions here R, who will decide whose voice matters in terms of describing, explaining, and judging impacts. Number 2, who will help to identify the measures of indicators to be evaluated. Number 3, who will collect or retrieve data. And number 4, who will be involved in organizing and storing data. Then you should understand causes. Collect and analyze data to answer causal questions about what has produced the outcomes and impacts that have been observed. So the questions here are: who will be involved in checking whether results are consistent with the theory that the intervention produced them? Who will decide what to do with contradictory information? Whose voice will matter most and why? Who will be consulted to identify possible alternative explanation for impacts? Then, synthesize, combine data to form an overall assessment of the merit or worth of the intervention, or to summarize evidence across several evaluations. Questions are: who will be involved in synthesizing data? Who will be involved in identifying recommendations or lessons learned? Then, report and support. Develop and present findings in ways that are useful for the intended users of the evaluation and support them to make use of findings. Questions are: who will share the findings? Who will be given access to the findings? Will this be done in audience appropriate ways? Which users will be encouraged and adequately supported to make use of the findings? So those were the framework that Better Evaluation provided to choose who will participate, when, and why. And then let's now see how this participatory evaluation is used in research. The link still is on the right side of the PowerPoint presentation. And here I just copied the abstract. So evaluation of the curriculum of the teaching in the multigrade classroom scores, participatory evaluation approach. So here you can see how this approach, if you will try to read the parts of this study, you will see how participatory evaluation approach was embedded in their evaluation of the curriculum. So I hope you will visit that study as an example. Another is this one: participatory approach to program evaluation, learning from students and faculty to improve training in biomedical informatics. So you can also scan through that study so you can see how this participatory approach was used to program evaluation. And lastly, I choose to include this study because this is from the Philippines. Listening to students' voices, a participatory approach to improving teaching and learning. As I scan this article, I see how students are being involved in the participatory approach in improving teaching and learning. However, in all of these presentation research studies, you can only see that participatory approach are just part either in data collection or usually in data collection, in data analysis, but they are not the only model or design that is used in the study. So thank you very much for watching, and this is again one of the participant-oriented evaluation approaches, participatory approach. So if you are interested to use this in your study, you can visit the links here and also this I know this these titles of the study. So thank you very much.